wrap it up and hit the road. I just got an awesome vibe, striking the winner post now. Liberty's on my mind. We've taken off, we've left the ground. You gotta understand that we get one chance, one chance. You will never regret the things that we'll do. 'Cause I wanna drive through the summer night. And when we are old and gray, we'll look back at this summer night. This summer night, this summer night. Sleeping in the back of a van, roaming in the wilderness. We don't ever need a plan. We'll be alright, just you and I. Singing from the top of our lungs, dancing by the lakeside. Gonna do it while we're young. In a moment it will all be gone. You gotta understand that we get one chance, one chance. You will never regret the things that we'll do. 'Cause I wanna drive through the summer night. And when we are old and gray, we'll look back at this summer night. This summer night, this summer night. This summer night, this summer night. Someday we will look back and our hearts will be whole again. I want to remember all that happened to us. 'Cause I wanna drive through the summer night. And when we are old and gray, we'll look back at this summer night. This summer night, this summer night. Oh yeah, this summer night, this summer night.
Eight, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome back to another special edition of the HNL Tonight Show with your hockey coach, goal coach, FRENCHY, directly for the beautiful country of Thailand. Tonight, hopefully an amazing, great day, everybody. Tonight is all about the Devils. We know we have a different guest we get every single night for the preview of the upcoming season. Tonight, we have a special guest, and that our friend Sam is going to be with us talking about the Devils. So I can't wait to have him. He's going to be with us in the next couple of minutes. But first of all, we want to welcome everybody, be a part of the show tonight. We have Enough Tap is in the house. We have Luciano Graziano. He is with us tonight. And of course, Joseph Laham, the big fans of the New Jersey Devils, is with the Hockey Nation Live Show. Oops, sorry about that. My keyboard. Vinny James 007, welcome back. Run with Kings 20. Thanks to be a part of the show. And of course, everybody, thanks to join us tonight, like I mentioned. Let's dive in and let's further ado to welcome for the first time inside of the Hockey Nation Show. And we don't know if everything works because some have some kind of problem with the tech computer. We'll see if it works. Welcome, Mr. Sam is in the house tonight.
Thank you for having me. Do I sound good? I lost my voice. I went to a New York Mets game yesterday and I was screaming on top of my lungs. So I apologize for that. But thank you
That's
for
not a
having me on.
problem. First of all, sorry about your Mets because I think you'd maybe not scream too much, too loud, too many time because they don't do very well yesterday, right?
No, they lost 6-0. They got shut out. So for me, once the Mets are over, it's hockey season.
I see. Do you follow football?
I follow football. I follow all football.
Which team do you like?
The New York Football Giants and my Penn State Nittany Lions.
Here we go. I knew about the Penn State, so I knew already about that one over there. So the Giants, I think they won yesterday, right?
Yes, they did. My day started off yesterday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, watching the New York Football Giants play the Green Bay Packers in London, winning. The Jets actually won, thinking that the Mets would actually win, but they lost. And now the Devils roster just came out, just like every other NHL team, the 23-man roster. So some surprises, a lot expected, but I'm happy with it for now.
That's awesome. First of all, thanks to take your time to be with a part of the Hockey Nation show. We really appreciate it. Very grateful to having you. We heard a lot of things about who you are because people told me about, honestly, some know you. We have a couple of people, fans of the Devils in the chat. So we're going to have some question during the show. So I can wait to hear some view about the Devils the next couple of minutes. But first of all, we would love to hear more about you. A little bit your bio and resume, and this I think on the screen. This is your Twitter account. You can reach Sam on the print time, Sam Wall. So would be interesting to hear a little bit more about yourself, Sam.
Well, first off, thank you for having me on the program. You have a excellent program. I love the graphics. I love the production. And somehow I wasn't able to connect at first, but I'm glad I was able to do it the last second. That's what usually happens is you're trying to fiddle with something. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to use a Windows machine. I'm going to use my Mac. And somehow it works. So
Now, Mac is the perfect way because the software I use is called the HeyCam. Really well with usually with Apple. So glad you joined the show properly, and we are really excited to having you aboard. So thanks again. Like I mentioned, tell a little bit more about you, and because I was surprised when you do a lot of streaming, something like that, because I read this on your Twitter account.
Yeah, so a little bit about me. I've been a Devils fan pretty much my entire life. I'm 44 years old. The Devils are 40 years old. I only know the New Jersey Devils. Growing up in New Jersey, the Rangers was always on TV. Every time I watched them with the old rabbit ear TVs, they always lost. So what happened was, they were always losing. I looked in the newspaper and there was a team called the New Jersey Devils. And I'm talking like when I first was able to read. So I'm thinking about in second grade, which was around 1984, 1985. Then I just followed the Devils. They made that magical run in 88 where they made the playoffs and the possibilities of winning a Stanley Cup. There were many years of losing in the first round, and but that 93-94 season, which was probably the big step for the New Jersey Devils franchise, but losing to the Rangers in that Game 7 Eastern Conference Finals, it still burns me to this day. Like, I'm still mad about it, but without it, I don't think the Devils would have 3 cups because of that. I think a lot of times you need a good hard failure before you can be successful. And Marty Brodeur being the rookie that year, I followed him religiously throughout his career, knew that there was something special in him, just not so much the skill level, but his mindset, just being nonchalant, relaxed, but knowing when to make the big save. And it's hard when, especially during the trap era. But fast forward to 2005, 2006, Eklund of Hockey Buzz asked me to blog, and somehow we interconnected, or maybe I reached out to him. I don't really remember. And I started blogging, and I had a lot of attention there. That's my first taste of hockey media. Afterwards, eventually I moved on and had two internationally syndicated radio shows on XM Satellite Radio and Sirius XM. I was more of the executive producer, producing shows. If anybody remembers Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis and Hockey Primetime with Connor McKenna, those two shows were on for 10 years on the Sirius XM channel. Then afterwards, during the process, I was building a studio and decided, well, I wanted to do something different. So I started the Let's Go Devils podcast, really to just unite the Devils fan base, but also just have a casual conversation of Devils hockey, three Devils fans at a bar. And that's what the premise of. Instead, we would just use my expertise in engineering and broadcasting and put the cameras and the microphones up front and invite people on social media to be the part of the conversation. With that, there's a way to doing it without being inflammatory, where you can have a casual conversation, debates about, should Nico Hischier be the captain or not, without killing each other. But we have a great conversation, great time, and we always invite the audience. And we're now in our 5th year, and through the process, and I'm sure you would appreciate this, that I don't really look at the numbers that we pull in, but when we add it all up, we're over 1 million views and downloads combined.
Wow.
In the 5 years, most of it coming in the last 2 years. And one of the things we do is we live stream at the bar. And if you don't mind, I'm going to plug, I'm going to be at Chickies and Pete's in South Philadelphia, a 30,000 square foot facility, of biggest sports bar you'll ever go to, for Devil's home opener, doing a live podcast, game day podcast, and a recap podcast, Game Day Live and Devils After Dark, down in Philadelphia on Packer Avenue, Chickies and Pete's. And then our home bar, official home bar, American Whiskey, which is across the street from the Prudential Center, 51 Edison Place, next to Championship Plaza. So we're right in the thick of things, and we want to get people involved, talking Devils hockey. And of course, we have the occasional Rangers fan that would come on, and that's fine. We'll make fun of them, but you know what? It's all about having a good time and talking hockey. So that's a little bit about me. I've done it, a lot of media stuff, but this is the one that I really enjoy right now.
Wow, that's a brilliant impressive about this. I wish I was in the bar too sometime. I think a Hooters bar would be the great place for me to go, but that's already for another
We'll
subject
talk
for another time.
afterwards. Maybe we'll go.
But
We'll
one
talk
thing,
afterwards, and maybe we'll go.
one thing I would say, Sam, I really connect with you is like you said, at the end of the day, we're not expert. We're just people love the game. We want to sharing this. It's like, honestly, the way you do this is exactly what I do here. It's like we are all in the same place, the same living room, and we're just talking together about hockey, and that's all about at the end of the day. I was just want me sharing my love of the game, the passion I have, and then if someone or two or three can get that kind of the information I can bring on the table, that's pretty much my mission. I try to do every single time I show up here. So I think I can understand your point of view, and it's great what you're doing over there, because we need more people like you to sharing and spread the words about hockey. Because I think in USA we think, oh, everybody know. No, not many people knows hockey like what you were thinking it is. So glad to do some stuff like this in this area. I know hockey is really popular in Philadelphia, New York, but still, other states need to learn more, and then to see the people follow you that way. You can see right now it's fire up right now in the chat. I can see all the feet go up, and a lot of people knows you, Randy Walkman. He know you, Joseph Lahan, and I can go all the way that. So you look like your name is spread all over. So glad you're doing this, and thanks again to join the Hockey Nation Live show tonight. And of course, going to talk about the Devils. Going to have a lot of questions. But before we start, we want to thank a couple of people. Welcome everybody in the chat. We have Mr. Danny. Danny T is back in the house. Nicolas de Gobi Bono is another one. Just joined us too. Welcome back. THG for the New York Calendars is in the house. Roger, welcome back. And then we have Randy Walkman, I just mentioned to you guys. And then I see someone else, but Jeremy Hala is another one. So thanks, you guys, to be a part of the show. And of course, we're going to fire up. Some of you ask a question. I'm going to start with Sam for a couple more minutes to talk a little bit more about the main cam and the roster for the Devils for the upcoming season. Then I'm going to go back to you guys for your questions. So stay around here. We're going to be sure you're going to get your answer of your questions. So Sam, give us a little bit more about the Devils. We know they have a really an interesting team. I'll be honest with you. I'm really impressed by Tom Fitzgerald. I know he played in hockey. He's an ex-hockey player, but the way he talks, his communication is so great. Every time I'm listening to him, I'm really impressed the way he talk about the hockey. But the knowledge, if it's the mindset, is really powerful, and he knows what you need to do, and he's very patient, and I'm impressed by him. So talk a little bit more about the main camp and everything around the New Jersey Devils for the last 2 weeks.
Well, Coach, let me tell you, I loved Tom Fitzgerald when he was a player in the NHL. One of my favorite teams growing up was the 1996 Florida Panthers. The Rat Patrol, if you remember, Ed Jovanovski, Jovo Cop, Van Beesbrook, Scott Mellenby, and the whole thing, which is legendary. But Tom Fitzgerald was the leader on that team. And I think what Tom Fitzgerald has done was he's not listening to other people. He is using his hockey instincts, his guts, and making decisions also based on analytics as a whole. Now, me personally, I'm not a big fan of analytics, but the way Tom Fitzgerald has done it, it's a very process-oriented approach.
Sweet. We have a new subscriber.
Oh, okay. Is that what that is? Okay. I thought I pushed a button.
No.
I also, just so you know, I also have got funny buttons too.
We can do a lot of things together here. We're going to turn this entertaining.
Yeah. All right. So he takes a process-oriented approach to building this team. Ray Shero is more of the rebuild 1.0. Basically, they cleaned house. After Lou Lamoriello for 3 decades, everything needed to be revamped and modernized. I hate to admit it. I love Lou Lamoriello. I'm a Lou loyalist. But if you're going to do it one way, you got to go all the way. So it was not just a rebuild. It was a complete culture overhaul from top to bottom, the New Jersey Devils, after the Harris Blitzer Sports Entertainment bought the team. Rebuild 1.0 didn't go too well. Ray Shero and the Devils parted ways in a surprise, if I remember correctly, a surprise press conference at 5 p.m. And I was actually doing a live podcast at the bar when news broke. And let me tell you, when you break news at a bar restaurant with 100 people and you're announcing that Ray Shero is no longer with the New Jersey Devils, you can hear a pin drop, and we were the ones that were we didn't even know what to do because we weren't sure if it was fake news, but it doesn't matter at that point. So that and that awkward press conference of Tom Fitzgerald and Joshua Harris was just awkward because here's Tom Fitzgerald that has the interim tag as Devils GM. He had to take over And boy, did he make a lot of little moves, and how he handled this team through a pandemic, no less. 9.5 months of no Devils hockey. And again, he stuck to his guns. He made some shrewd trades. And what came of the Taylor Hall trade, which was done by Ray Shero, but the assets that came back, you look at that lineage where you've got Kevin Ball, you've got Dawson Mercer that came out of it, Jonas Siegenthaler. They had Christian Jaros, which didn't work out well. He took that process-oriented approach, and he's building the team step by step. Now, fans like me are hollering, spend money, but he didn't do that up until this offseason. He pulled the trigger. Not because he's trying to save his job, because it was time. And he did go after free agents. First, the year before, he got Dougie Hamilton, the biggest free agent prize defenseman, going into his prime. 7 years, overpaid, but he got Dougie Hamilton. And, we'll talk a little bit about him later. But he did try to go after Johnny Gaudreau. That's all you could ask if you're a Devils fan. But Gaudreau ghosted Tom Fitzgerald. And that's probably going to be maybe, in my opinion, maybe the best thing that ever happened to the New Jersey Devils, because following that, the Tkachuk trade, Florida gave up a lot. New Jersey wasn't even in the conversation. The amount of assets that Florida had to give up, New Jersey didn't even have what Calgary wanted. Palette was signed. The trade for Ty Smith for John Marino ensued. That took up that salary cap space that would have went to Gaudreau to get these two types of players, and then also basically flipping a pick to get Vitek Vanacek, and also giving Mackenzie Mac Black, another shot at it. And right now it looks to be the 1A, 1B tandem. I would give the edge right now just by default to Mackenzie Blackwood, but he has to really perform. Because Vanacek, I think, had a very good preseason. So just to answer your question, Tom Fitzgerald, he filled the pipeline of young talent. Of course, he had the advantage of having higher draft picks. But when you look at their defense 3 years from now, who do you put? There's only 6 spots. Who do you put? Because you're going to have your 7th and 8th defensemen be potential all-stars that can't even crack the roster spot. And Tom Fitzgerald knows how valuable those right-handed mobile scoring defensemen are in the NHL. So, that's Tom Fitzgerald. And you know what? All the suffering the last 10 years, Coach, I think it's going to be worth it by 2025.
You're absolutely right about this. They did very good. Like, you understood the mold, the build of franchise to rebuild at some point is to go with the prospect. If you don't have no prospects, so the last, 2-3 years, you got 5, 6, 7 possible first round pick. And you talk about Nemec this year, but, the Jack Hughes, a huge one over there. I think Jack Hughes is going to have an amazing, great year. And I think for me, for the Devils, the health. To be sure, they're going to be helped, but the future is great. We never talk about the defenseman from was draft 18 overall pick, I believe, Maladudin, or 20 overall pick, I think, 2 years ago.
20th overall. He was after Dawson Mercer.
Yeah.
Dawson Mercer was 18. That came from via Arizona. The 20th came from Vancouver via Tampa Bay Lightning for that whole Blake Coleman trade.
And he's looking good over there in the KHL right now. So it's another great players.
Yeah, and also some of the prospects that they have, like Luke Hughes, that's the obvious one. But Seamus Casey, this whole Michigan Wolverines tandem, like that is really the unofficial Devils defense development team is what they're doing in Michigan. And it pains me to say it, being a Penn Stater, but it pains me. But you look at what Ethan Edwards and Seamus Casey and Luke Hughes, what they're doing at the University of Michigan, they'll be here. They'll be either in Utica or New Jersey 2 to 3 years from now. They're going to be here. And that, on top of everything else that the Devils have, Muhammad Doolin, that's the big X factor. Devils took a risk at that 20th overall. Again, here's Tom Fitzgerald sticking to his guns, taking risks, and not listening to other people, listening to his hockey instincts. And so far, I love what he's done. Unfortunately, we won't be able to really know how it's going to go till 2025, 2026. Did these draft picks really pay off in the end? Right now, it's just all speculation if you think about it.
Yes, of course. But I think that if you imagine like 3 years, I think they are going to be in the right direction. Because I don't think so. Pittsburgh or Washington at some point they're going to go down. Like they're not going to stay in the top over there. So you're going to have possibility Carolina Rangers going to be still another team. But now they're going to be one of maybe the best team in the Metropolitan. So the frame time is really good for them. And then when people knows hockey, but not too much. I would say to you, once you accumulate asset year after year and you stay in the plan, what happening after that, Sam, is like when you realize now we are go to the next level, we are getting there. What is missing? Possible a goaltender, possible a forward, whatever is missing. You have a chance now to make a big trade to get that kind of players because now you asset. You can, like you said, you cannot have like 9 defensemen in the back. You have to only 6, and those assets is going to helping them. I feel for me, I believe at some point to reach those kind of players I'm talking about, like possibly a goaltender, whatever it is. So I think Tom is doing a great job because he's sick and the plan from the beginning, and he never go nowhere. And he take time, and that's what he takes. And that not the key behind this, the fans still have to be patient and wait for the Devils go to that level. But right now, I think this the another team, top 10 team in NHL the next 3 years for sure. Possibility before that, but as a fan of the Devil, you should be very excited about what's coming in front of you.
Yeah, and just remember Tom Fitzgerald as a player, very smart person. He's not a dummy. He is very smart. He was a leader. And if you ever noticed how Tom Fitzgerald handles player contracts, he handles it with a lot of care. When he had to trade Travis Zajac and Kyle Palmieri to a rival, New York Islanders, he said this, and he caught my attention. At the time, I was pretty mad. But he was hoping that Islanders pick would be like ranked number 30 or 32 in the draft because he wanted them to win a Stanley Cup. And it's a rival, no less. But he's really a player's GM, and that goes a long way with the current players that are on the New Jersey Devils. And eventually, once this team gets to a certain level, elite level, getting free agents and attracting talent to the Devils, it will go a long way. Tom Fitzgerald, I'm very impressed just the way he handles things, and just he doesn't panic as well. Because there's a lot to criticize, but so far he's been very engaged with the fans, and I do like how he's taking this team in the right direction.
Well, you're absolutely right. I think when you get those kind of jobs, you have to be calm. And I think the fact he play hockey, he knows he was like he was not like the most talented, skilled players. He was skilled. He was pretty good, but not. He was a blue collar. He understood what it takes to become because playing hockey like that level, it's not for everybody. But the key is always said for me: play there, it's all right. Many reach this, but survive there. This is another level of the player does have sometimes. That's what many of them never play over 300 game, 400 because they don't understood to what you can survive year after year. Then Fitzgerald did it for many ways, and in like I said, communication, talking with players is what I heard the most from about him on different podcasts, and I think he does very well with the Devils. But Devil prospect, one of the best organizations with the Carolina Hurricanes. in NHL for the last 2 years. What for you are the most at the camp? We know Nemec, and we talk about Mercer is still a prospect. Everybody under 22 years old are prospects. So talk a little bit more about the prospect overall for the Devils.
I think one prospect that's, except for the obvious ones, but I think Fabian Zetterlund has a real opportunity to make a name for himself, not only with the New Jersey Devils, but in this league. Last season, when he got called up from Utica, he had a very good season with Utica. But the last 10, 15 games with the New Jersey Devils, he was that player that they were kind of missing on the bottom six forwards. Kind of plays with an edge, with some speed, some grit. Didn't mind getting dirty in the corners, doing all the little things that don't show up on the stat sheet, and making his teammates better. And even Megan Dugan said that as well. Megan Dugan, the player development guru that the Devils had hired, again, another Tom Fitzgerald hire, said that he had a real good shot of making the team. Now, did he have a good camp? I think he had an okay camp. But again, once you start, the regular season starts and they start putting Fabian Zetterlund in there, he's going to do some things that, again, the guys that are doing the dirty work. And I think he's going to do just fine. That's one prospect. Dawson Mercer, you mentioned him. Where do you put Dawson Mercer? He's a center. He's a natural centerman, but really he's a top six forward. And one thing about Dawson Mercer, which surprised me, he played all 82 games last season. A durable player, and he was very intelligent, very high hockey IQ, which I think helped with his durability. Because you see Dawson Mercer, he knew how to move with the puck without getting slammed to the boards. A lot of these rookies, they're out there, that they're playing against professional men hockey players for the first time, and he just knew how to just be slippery good, so to speak, with the puck, and avoid those big hits. He's, again, will he go into a sophomore slump, that proverbial sophomore slump? I don't think so, because I've just seen, last season he did go through some tough periods, but any rookie would. But just the way he just kept at it and just was consistent, I think he'll do just fine in his second season. Alexander Holtz, I wrote this on Hockey Buzz, and I was pretty adamant about it. He has to make the team, and he did. That H2O line, Hughes, Holtz, and Palette. With Jack Hughes, you get a world-class player. That line could be a lethal line for the next 3 to 5 years, because Jack Hughes being Jack Hughes and Alexander Holtz having to keep up with Jack Hughes and pay attention, and also having Palette, two-time, almost 3-time Stanley Cup champion, to mentor him. He's got a great opportunity to better himself, because he's going to have to if you're going to play with Jack Hughes. One of the underrated things about Alexander Holtz, we know that he can shoot the puck. Both Jack Hughes and him, when they're on the circles, they are deadly. The puck is pretty much in the net. But Alexander Holtz, he's got some good vision on the ice, and I think he was an underrated playmaker. I just think we need to see more of that. And when you have Jack Hughes and Palette buzzing around the net, I think he's going to get a lot of assists, and I think he's going to do very well.
Listen, I'm excited for you guys because you have a lot of good prospects over there. We did not talk all of them. It's just a few of this. And, I remember Dawson Mercer, like Team Canada Junior. We have a bigger name around him, but he was the one, he was catalyzed, everything. He was a spark plug of that team all the time by the way he played. And As a Devils fan, you're going to be happy for a long time about Dawson Mercer. So I'm sure they will be great. We have a lot of people in the chat. We have people ask questions. So I know we have a plan, but I think it would be great if we can get some questions from the fans. I think would be good. If you don't mind to do it, that'd be good. We want to welcome a couple of people. Dan Hacham, we have Joseph, Stefan, a big fan of the Devils, is in the house. Pierre Martin, welcome aboard. Thanks to join us tonight. Everybody, thanks again. Sam, do you have anything you want to add, or are you ready to some question?
Well, I see some recognizable names that joined my podcast, like Joseph Lanham, Big Steve Engel as well. He's a chatterbox, so watch out for him.
That's good to hear that about this. So the first question for Joseph, he asked you about how did Simon and Nemec beat out Kevin for a spot?
It's summed up in 3 letters: CBA, collective bargaining agreement. All right. I don't understand it, but I'll try to simplify it. It's all about salary cap. It's all about the long-term injury list. It's a lot of things. If the Devils, from what I understand, if the Devils don't do it now, they wouldn't be able to have Simon Nemec on the roster base because his cap hit versus Kevin Ball's. Kevin Ball's is a smaller cap hit. Probably what's going to happen is Nemec is going to play just like sort of like Alexander Holtz that one year, maybe about 7 to 9 games, and then eventually there's going to be a change that's going to be made. It's probably going to be Kevin Ball coming up sooner rather than later. I thought Kevin Ball had a very good camp. I thought Kevin Ball on his second tour of duty last season. The first tour of duty last season, he was very tentative. He wasn't the same guy that he was in Utica, but the second time around he came, he was a monster. And he has a lot of, I don't want to compare him to it, just the way he looks because he's so tall. He kind of reminds me a little bit of like Chara, where it's going to take him some time to get used to his long limbs and how to effectively use it in the NHL. When Chara came up with, obviously the Islanders and then Ottawa Senators, it took it some time, but once he got in the groove, Chara was a dominant physical defenseman that could, score and play, as a role of a stopper. But yeah, to answer that question, I think it's just a matter of, okay, we'll play by the rules. This is how we're going to move around the money. I'm not going to put too much stock in it that he is NHL ready to make the All-Star team, but it's kind of nice to have your second overall pick on the roster, for the first 10 games of the season.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing wrong. Like you said, many teams right now, yesterday, they did a lot of change of just because they be under salary cap. So that's pretty amazing. By the way, talking about salary cap, guy, yesterday was the first time in history the Winnipeg Jets have no money on the salary cap. They are zero. So they have the salary cap at $82.5 million. Never happened in the past. A team or completely, because the dream of the team is to maximize the capacity to be closer at the amount. They give them more leverage about the salary cap at long term. So pretty amazing. The Winnipeg Jets did that yesterday. But again, like you mentioned, sometimes it's just because those moves at the beginning, it's just for the purpose of the salary cap. And I'm pretty sure that's the reason about this. Because I would be honest with you, I watched Kevin at the rookie camp. He was looking great. And he's a big guy. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get back on your stride, everything like this, and to adjust the speed of the game when you 6'5", 6'6", every day like this. So I think it's a great way to see this. And Simon would be see. Now, my question about Nemec is, because its front player have a clause, if his example is not going to stay with the Devils, is it that kind of clause where he'd have to go back and play in Europe, or he can go to the American Hockey League?
To be honest with you, I think he's here. I think he's going to be going to Utica. Uh, he's a second overall pick. I think he was the best defenseman in the draft.
Yeah.
I think what happened with Muhammad Doolin is still mind-boggling to me. He's on the clock right now, but he's in Russia. He's
Yeah.
playing in the KHL. It's like, what are you doing? But every player is different. I think Nemitz wants to be here. I think he wants to be in North America, and the faster he gets his feet wet or skates wet here in playing the North American game, the better for him, his career, and everything else, and getting acclimated. I think it'd be if he went back to Europe. I'm not so sure about that. I think the best thing is to be under Kevin Dineen in Utica, and again start the process, because eventually it's going to be Nemitz and Hughes pairing, and that maybe happens sooner rather than later. So
Yeah.
I think it's better for him to eat North American food, live the life, the culture, the hockey, hockey player life, get acclimated, and then come back to the big club.
And Utica has a great team, by the way, in American Hockey League last season. So I think he's not going to be like a bad team. He's going to be pretty good over there. Ask you this question in our top. What point total do you anticipate for Hughes getting this year, especially with Palette, and of course, if he stay healthy?
All right, let's see. What point?
How many points do you think Jack Hughes is going to have?
It depends if Jack Hughes stays healthy.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. He has yet to play a full 82 game season. Some of it was not his fault. Couple freak injuries, COVID, getting COVID, shortened season. Jack Hughes' introduction to the NHL is very unique. He's drafted first overall. The thing that happened with Taylor Hall, everything that fell apart, then the coaching changes, then the GM change, then, as a rookie, then stops 9.5 months. And that's after playing so many games, at the junior level and all that. 9.5 months. He took that time to rebuild his body, or bulk up, is what we say on the Let's Go Devils podcast. He beefed up the beefalytics, and he came to camp with more muscle. Then he got COVID and lost it all. Literally lost it all. And then he had to come back in a shortened season. And then last season, he started the season great. He scored that overtime goal, that celebration, which, by the way, was not premeditated. He just did it for the love of winning and threw his stick to the crowd, and the lucky fan got that stick. And then his friend Zegers had to, be a copycat and copy him. And then he gets hurt against Seattle last season on the second game of the season. And then he was shelved, and then he had to come back. But before he came back, he signs an $8 million deal for 8 years. But then he had a pretty good season points-wise. To answer your question, because if it's a healthy Jack Hughes, he's going to be 90 to 110 points if he plays all 82 games. Because how can he not? He scores goals. He knows, he's got such great vision on the ice. And when he first came into the league as a rookie, you saw the talent that he had, but he was just 161 pounds. But he was he had that Sidney Crosby way of him, where players would just miss him, just absolutely miss him. They try to put the body on him, just absolutely miss him. Now he is just so confident and so knowledgeable of where he is on the ice and where everybody is, that he could just take over a game. And the one thing about Jack Hughes that, again, it's going to be it's an underrated stat, but he's a thief. If you see him poke the puck and steal the puck and go the other way, he's gone. He is a thief. The takeaways, against elite players, he is very good at that. And I like to see a more well-rounded game from Jack Hughes. And also, he could be a Lady Byng trophy winner because I don't think he had a penalty last season in 40-something games.
Yeah, he's going to be a really interesting. I think he's going to, if he was healthy, he's a guy who can reach 90 points for sure. And the family Hughes, I don't know who teach them to skating, but they are the three of them, the Quinn, the Jack and Luke. Their skating is phenomenal. I don't know who teach them, but they are really it's crazy when you're watching them skating. It's like, it's just amazing to watch them for sure. But we have. I was going to talk about other conversation and like concern. It was one of my other subject, but I will have a question. Go with this one with there. So we're going to do a mix together. If I ask you for Sam, what area worries you to the start of the season, and what area are you confident the team is better this season? So that's a bit my my question. It was on my subject. Devils concern 22-23. So maybe give us an idea about your concern and maybe what area they believe they're going to get a little bit better for the upcoming year.
Special teams, the shorthanded situations. What I mean by that is not the power play gives up too many shorthanded chances to the opposition. Why is that happening? A lot of it is hesitation. A lot of it is they're getting too fancy at times. And those last season, the Devils led the league in giving up shorthanded goals. And there were times where they had the momentum of the game up 3-1, just had the gas pedal down. They're on the power play, and every Devils fan knows that you want to decline the penalty like you do in football, but you can't. And guess what happens? Something happens, a no-look pass to empty space, transition the other way, add in the terrible goaltending of last season. Those shorthanded goals are just killers. Absolute killers. There's no excuse for shorthanded goals. You have an extra player on the ice. There's no reason for it. And I think, and it was still happening even up into the last game. Now, they didn't score any shorthanded goals, the Boston Bruins, but there were shorthanded chances. And you know what? You can only rely on the goalie in those situations only so much. The best way to handle it is just not let it happen at all. What do the Devils do? Well, Mark Recchi had a terrible time trying to fix that, and it seems like it's still happening, but I think that's one area that they have to improve on, because if you're giving up that many shorthanded chances and goals, you're working for nothing. They shouldn't happen to begin with.
I see. Is it like sometimes is it like just like the bad execution, or is it like a turnover, or what do you feel like it was just like too much stuff, like you said, fancy? They tried to be too fancy, and then boom, they got caught.
That's a good question, because if I had the answer to that, I'd be hired by the Devils right now. I, I, me personally, just my experience playing, I think it's a lack of discipline in some
Great point.
respect. I think it's a lot of it is they're trying too hard. They're holding, you hear the cliches. They're holding on to their sticks, too tight or too long. Just the amount of hesitation. I don't see any hesitation when they're on 4-on-4 or 3-on-3. They seem pretty confident, but when they're on 5-on-5, it just seems like they're not in the natural flow of the game, and they're just trying to execute a plan versus just playing hockey. If that even makes sense at all. I think oftentimes that a lot of the times, they're trying too hard to do so much, but why not simplify the game? What worked on the power play? There was a stretch where they weren't giving up shorthanded goals and they were scoring power play goals, was when they put Nathan Bastian in front of the net. I talk about this all the time on my podcast, for those that know, and I'll teach you this. I did this one podcast one time where I had to simplify their power play and their penalty kill, and I called that slot area the no fun zone when you're on the penalty kill, because no one's allowed to have any fun there. You got to box out and clear that out. Those are the high danger chances. The Devils, that oftentimes they play the perimeter game on the power play, and they're just passing around, but nobody's getting inside. Till they get inside, that's where they're scoring goals. But when they're passing around, that's where the puck gets lost. They get too fancy, and they get their edge of the skate caught, and then suddenly it's a 2-on-none against a goaltender, and it's it's a momentum
Yep.
backbreaking danger.
Yep, so right about this. We talk about goaltender, or like I said, concern. I do podcast. We talk about team, and we preview game, and we talk about the Devils a lot. And they mentioned a lot. People said about the concern was the goaltender for the upcoming season. They don't know. They put like 4, 5, and 6 in the standing because the goaltending with Blackwood and now Vinnychek and Jonathan Bernier will be interesting when he's coming back. And following that question, we have someone asked this question to you: what is the goalie pipeline looking like? So maybe I know it's a couple of questions for you back to back, but I think the same subject about the goaltender.
Well, right now, at least from this year, this standpoint, Mackenzie Blackwood and Vitek Vanacek, they're going to play this season, barring any injuries, and you just cross your fingers that won't happen. But right now, I think this is going to be Vanacek's team eventually. It wasn't too long ago that Team Canada was talking about Mackenzie Blackwood representing Team Canada in the Olympics. It was not too long ago. He has size. When he's on, he's on. When he's off, he's really off. So, this is a make or break season. I hate to say that for Mackenzie Blackwood. But to answer the question in the Devils system, I like Nico Dawes a lot. The kid came in an emergency basis, first professional, hockey season in North America for him. And the young kid held his own very, very well. And he's playing more games than he ever had in his entire life in one season. He showed me a lot of grit. He hung in there. He had the mental fortitude to just stick with it. If anybody remembers Martin Brodeur, when he was called up at emergency basis, when Chris Terreri and Craig Billington were out with injuries, and it was Craig Erickson and Brodeur that were in net, and nobody knew really who Martin Brodeur was. I remember going to that game, and somebody said he can't even stop a bus if it came at him, because nobody knew who he was at the time. And you're talking about 1992. Then he spent, I think, a year and a half in Utica to work on his game, eventually called up, and the rest is history. Took the job over from Chris Terreri, and then, that was that rookie year that took him to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Rangers. But I do like Nico Dawes. The other kid that impressed me quite a bit, Brennan, I think he was picked 4th overall. Tyler Brennan, he showed some flashes during the Prospect Challenge of why the Devils got him. And I would keep an eye on him because he was considered the best goalie in last year's draft. It was a very thin draft for goalies, I guess, but he was picked around in the 4th round. That could be a sleeper. And in this league, you don't really, in today's NHL, you don't really need to have a first-round pick goaltender to succeed and go to the Stanley Cup Finals. If you look at Henrik Lundqvist, where he was drafted, and other goaltenders, they're all in the late rounds. It's just a matter of, can you develop them, and can they get through that to get to the NHL level? But I think Brennan and Dawes have a really good shot of being a number 1 goaltender somewhere.
Great answer for sure about this. We have a couple of questions. We continue, so it's almost done. What are your thoughts on the Devil defensive group collectively? We know they lost Ty Smith, Piquet Subban never come back. I think for Devils, I think they are underrated because they have a lot of great defensemen there. For me, Ryan Graves always been a great defenseman, underrated in NHL. Came for the
Yeah.
Colorado um, Avalanche, but what he look like for the upcoming year?
You know, it's funny you say that because if you look at the Devils 10 years ago, how slow the defensemen were compared to now, the Devils they've got both size and speed. Siegenthaler is probably one of the most underrated defensemen out there. I think he's the glue of that defensive core. I mean, we could talk about Ryan Graves and Dougie Hamilton being the twin towers this season. Damon Severson stepped up to the plate when Dougie Hamilton went out with that jaw injury, awful jaw injury, and took over, power play one. He was the quarterback on that power play, and they score goals. He's coming to his own, and he's on a contract year.
Yeah.
Graves and Severson are on contract years, and Brendan Smith, again, another underrated defenseman, because I like what he was talking about sticking up and fighting for your teammates. He's all about that. He's crazy for that, and you don't need to fill the three pairings with NHL All-Stars, because it takes a collective group. That was part of the question. And Ken Danico, I remember an interview, and he said this on this podcast. Ken Danico, a good friend of the podcast, said, he wanted to play on the power play, and he was like, went into Lou's office screaming at him. They were screaming back and forth. And then Lou Lamoriello told Ken, that the power play is like an orchestra. You're not a violinist. You're a drummer on the team. And that resonated. And I think Jonas Siegenthaler is kind of the drummer of the team, at least on the defense, because he really is the glue. Steady, reliable, and durable back there.
Great point. Great analysis about this. And you know how this works. He take different role inside the team. You can have all Jack Hughes only. You're never going to win if you have only kind of like a Jack Hughes 21 player like this. You have to some kind of Brendan Smith bring toughness. You need toughness in that team if you want to go to the next level. Devils prediction, it was one of my other subject, but we got that question. I think we go for with this. We know he's an outseat, Lindy Ruff, and my prediction of you think of the Devils at the end of the year. For the Devils, how many points you expect from them? So a lot of conversation. I think DJ Smith and Lindy Ruff, the first two coaches, could become fire if they don't have a great start. What do you think about this?
This is Tom Fitzgerald's team. Lindy Ruff is Tom Fitzgerald's guy. And I wrote an article on pucksandpitchforks.com in February defending Lindy Ruff after all that. He really is the only coach at the moment that can coach his team. Why? It's a young team. It's a developing team. He helped develop Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier last season, and Jesper Bratt. That's all you can ask for. All in 1 year, you've got three players that are like on the top of the team. He did a very, very good job of that. But there were other issues that they addressed in the offseason. Getting Ryan McGill to run the defense, Andrew Brunette, who was a Jack Adams finalist, taking over a very bad situation in Florida, and excuse me, and Sergey Breland on the coach. I think Lindy Ruff is going to be fine. I don't think they're going to put a metric at how many points, because they were 37 points out last season. I think Tom Fitzgerald's going to use his hockey IQ to see, are they responding and are they progressing under Lindy Ruff and where they need to be by the end of the season. I don't think points is what he's going to measure it. He's going to look at the whole body of work. So I think that's, unless Lindy Ruff goes 0-20 and loses the locker room, I think he's going to get a new contract.
That's a great point, by the way, you mentioned about this. The second thing I was said to you about if you have to guess a number of the point, is there a team you think now they are ready to play over 500?
I think they're a 500 team. They may be an NHL 500 team. Do they have potentially to be an over 500 team? Absolutely. It all depends. A lot of things have to happen. Number one, last season they got off to a hot start. They were 8-5-3 by the time and beat the Tampa Bay Lightning in Tampa around November 20th. They were on the top of the hockey world. They were actually in playoff contention. I think they were in a wild card spot. And I know that's like about 20 games in. The issue with this team is when things go bad, because they were a young team for so long, they would go on these droughts of like losing 13 in a row. You couldn't even stop the bleeding. I think right now they have enough veteran leadership, like Tomas Tatar, who was on a contract year, Palette, who just signed that 6-year deal. I think, and Dougie Hamilton and Ryan Graves, I think they've got enough veteran leadership right now where when they're slumping, they're not going to go on this 13-game losing streak. They're going to go on maybe a 3 or 4, but get back on track and stop that bleeding where they at least get points to get them through the dry spells. And I think that's very important because that's what was happening, where they were playing pretty well and then boom, the bottom falls and it's just a free fall. I think if they're going to solve the issues this year, remember, this is the first time in a long time that they spent all the way to the cap. I would expect that all that stuff in the past should be rectified, and I don't think they're going to have those free falls like they have in the last few years.
Great point for sure. We welcome Terry T and Marco Larabé. We have a question for one of your best fans, Joseph Laham. When are you going to get Adam Barabosha here, reliving the 2021 hit on Sarkowski?
I think Joseph is trying to be funny. I've seen that clip. It's a great clip. I would love to see him as a New Jersey Devil. We all love those players. Unfortunately, Mason Garretson, was put on waivers. I didn't check up his status. Sorry, I didn't see that yet. But Slavkovsky, I want to ask you this question. What are your thoughts about him? Because I think he's the right fit for the Montreal Canadiens. I know the Devils were probably on his radar, but it's just what are your thoughts about him right now?
First of all, I want to mention this. I called the Slovakia pick number 1, pick number 2. Everybody thought that they're going to take. I said no, the Devils going to go with Nemec, and I got that one, by the way. So it's the same scenario with Nemec. When I said that, they are not ready yet, I believe, to survive all year long. 82 game in NHL. I think there will be a little bit more difficulties, but again, it's a learning, right? You just nail it. I like your knowledge, how you analogy the Devils, where it's another step of the progression this year is to develop the young guys to get there. And the same way with Montreal Canadiens, they are only like maybe 2-3 years behind the Devils, but it's the same way where you need to develop one day at a time, one game at a time, and that's what they are. Sarkowski will show up some good game, then after that it will disappear, like a 3-4 shift, then he come back with. But the guy is a monster. When I'm talking about this, is the strength he has, like to go through 2 defensemen, he never move, like he's just 238 pounds and puck protection, everything like that. But again, the zone coverage, he missed his coverage. His coverage. He led Claude Giroux skating to the net. He get his 2 first strike, and then he looked for the puck. He loses his guy behind. So it's just like normal. 18 years old. It just way about this. I believe for me, he will start with Montreal Canadiens, but I would not be surprised he go to Laval for a couple of games, like 10, 15, 20, then come back a little bit later. And that's the best way, I believe, for him. And like your Nemec, you don't have to go back play over there. They can stay in American Hockey League. And to be around the Montreal Canadiens entourage, Laval and Montreal is he can stay in the same location, same house, same thing. He can do the same thing.
Yeah.
So I think for me, that will be the season I see on Sarkowski. I think they did the right pick. I think the center is going to be another better NHL draft 2023 as a center position. I wouldn't be surprised. Many of them are better to Shane Wright overall, and is a little bit an unicorn as a get a forward like 6'3", 6'4", whatever they gave him, and 235 pounds. Not something you can find anywhere. So I think he's going to be okay. But the pick, remember, Sam, like me, the draft 2022 was not the best, and will be one of the worst possibly in the last at the first 20 years and the last 20 years, I think so. So if he can be a second line top 6 in the NHL, I think that'd be great. But again, development, I don't know. They never draft a kid at 18 years old to be at 18 years old the best. He want to be sure he can become one of the best at 22, 23, 24 years old. So I think that's the way the Montreal is going to get. I'm really excited, not only the team, but I'm excited about the staff management. I know you've been in New York area, so you know Jeff Gordon, but the Ken Hughes together, Martin Saint-Louis, and the problem in Montreal, how the market of hockey is to be patient as a fans. And that's my biggest concern. The pressure can get Sarkowski left and right. But me, I'm willing to jump on the wagon with them. If it takes 3 years, perfect. 4, that's okay. Not a big problem with that. At least if we progress every single year and the player get better, the development, they put so much energy, analytic, video coach, development coach like Adam Nicolas, Scott Pellerin, I can go all the way. I think Montreal really focusing on those areas. I think that's a really positive for what they want to bring on the table for the next couple of years. So they have to be back again at top 5. That's give us possibility Mitchkov, Bedoff, Fantilli, Yager, or Carlson, or maybe other. And I think it'll be exactly like the Devils. They picked 3 first-round pick, 2 the year after that. Montreal get 2 last year. Owen Beck, he was almost a first-round pick. Beck have an amazing, great rookie camp. So that's almost like a 3. Next year, they have 2. The following year, have 1. So I think on the prospect, I think Montreal should be fine and would be interesting. But again, it's not a race, it's a marathon. If you get it that way, if you enjoy every game, they're losing 5-4. It was a great entertainment. I think you'll be fine. And that's my purpose behind the mic, to bring those kind of positivity for the fans, because sometimes they jump too much quicker, faster on this. And I'm sure you feel the same way with there.
Yeah, you know what? Excuse me. Montreal, I did a lot of broadcasts in Montreal. I'm very familiar with Montreal. I love Hurley's Irish Pub on Crescent Street, and I used to go to the Bell Center a lot anytime I was on a business trip there. But what the fans want, and at least the leadership in Montreal, in my opinion, they've got some competent leaders right now. You show them the plan. You execute the plan. You don't speed up the plan because you've already showed what that plan is. You always want to build that foundation. And that's what the Devils have done. That's what Montreal is trying to do, is have that foundation. Now, remember when the Rangers, when they tore it all down, they literally wrote to the season ticket holders, sorry, but this is how we're going to do it. And then they were on the right track. And then suddenly they didn't want to go through any growing pains after that Tom Wilson incident. And then they ripped it up, and then they had to their credit, they had a great year last season. But is that really sustainable, relying on Shesterkin to take you to the promised land? It takes a whole team to win a Stanley Cup. So I think the Devils and I think the Canadiens are doing it the right way. Yes, there's going to be growing pains. I think what fans really want to see is that from upper management that they truly care and they're willing to take the time to put the right pieces together, and they're not going to pull Hail Mary moves to save their jobs, that they're like Tom Fitzgerald, where they will take their time because they're confident that they're going to be there long term.
Yeah, absolutely right. Look, Detroit Red Wings, Eisenman plan, like he did it with Tampa Bay, and now he's doing it with the Detroit. He's a plan like 5, 6, 7 years. And Detroit fan, they buy it, they all in, they follow the plan, and they are patient. Like you said, if you show the people, and then Montreal, if Coffee have 30 goals, 35 goals, and possibly, who knows, 40 goals, people will be happy. Like that's what they want to be, to see those kind of the situation. For me, it's only one thing. It's a progression. How we are better today compared last season. So one after 82 game, how we are better. Those kids progress, they get better. Like same thing with Jack Hughes. You know what I mean? Like you can see Jack Hughes, his development for the last 3 years. And that's what we're looking for as a hockey fans. And exciting game, not about, too many passengers. Unfortunately, Montreal paid the price for different mistake they did with bad contract and different player they pick up. And I think sometimes you have to be lucky, honestly. But I think they did not do very well on the couple of players the last couple of years, and now they pay the price for the salary cap like any other team. But unfortunately, they're going to clean up the house, and then they have $22 million, 24 next season. That will open up more different players they're going looking for. But when I'm excited, everything they do, Sam, they do the homework. They will tell you exactly why they pick him, why they did that, and who they are. They call everybody, and the trade for Kirby Dach versus Romanov. A lot of fans was upset about this, but I'm telling you now, look, Kirby Dach is looking great right now with Montreal Canadiens. What they did their homework. They figure out, they ask, and they question people. They want to see exactly, and I think for me, it's a big change versus Marc Bergevin, where it was more about him. When I said that about him, he did a lot of good stuff over there, but it was more a one-man show, not really more about teamwork, and where Ken Hughes and Jeff Gordon use the experience on the both ways, one a GM, one an agent, and those connections helping them. But again, Sam, it's a minimum 3 years before Montreal get out at the bottom and to show something better and better, and that's going you Edge, Suzuki 25, 26, and then Coffee will be 24, 25, and then you have the Sarkoski and the Coley at the defense, and now like Montreal, we don't have no goaltender and everything, but time we fix everything. But again, it's excited for me. It's about development this year, and whatever I call the game, it's no matter for me. I just want to be sure we give everyone 100% every single game.
And do you know how you could tell if your organization is doing it the right way? Any great organization, the dynasties that we've seen or near dynasty teams, is the way they draft. If your team has players that are top players that they're drafted in rounds 4 and up, maybe the 6th round, like Jesper Bratt, you know that you're in good hands. If you remember the Detroit Red Wings back in the mid-90s, 2000s, they were near maybe the closest to a dynasty there was. They won in 98, 97, 98, 2002. Didn't matter which player. They did well. But Ken Holland, Pavel Datsyuk, Zetterberg, these were all late round picks. And that was the difference between the Devils being a dynasty versus the Red Wings. I give the edge to the Red Wings because Lou, in the end there, didn't have those 6th round pick that were so impactful. And that's why the Red Wings were so good for so long, is because they knew how to draft, because you're not going to get the first overall pick like the Devils recently, in 2019 and 2017, and they almost had it last season. It doesn't happen very often. You have to have your scouts, and you're going to have to find those players. The Devils' Jesper Bratt is soon to get a big payday if he continues his progress. They also have a kid named Josh Philman that I think they drafted him sixth round. Did very well. I think he scored 2 goals in the Prospect Challenge up in Buffalo, in September. Again, those are those kind of indicators to know if your organization's on the right track, where they can fill the pipeline with these late picks. That's how you know, because if they cut corners, going to free agency, they're making, home run trades to save their jobs, the GMs, then it's not good. They're falling off the track.
Back again at foundation, that's where after that it's not only draft them, it's to develop them. I think that's another piece of puzzle. What Montreal did not do well for the last 10 years, for 90, whatever they are. Like, we have a couple of great players, but never have a chance to develop them. They were just like alone. And that's what we see. The big chance for me, that's what for Montreal. They make a lot of new people work for the Montreal Canadiens to develop the players. So they have a great, great toolbox. Now, inside the toolbox, they have a lot more now, some tools inside the player can access to make them to develop. And they would said they would not give away anything until they fully believe the player is on his ceiling. Now they can do nowhere. But I think it's excited to see, listening, watching Martin St. Louis can use and Jeff Gordon, all three together. So would be really interesting for Montreal. But again, bottom 5 for me. And that's okay. That gave us a chance to pick up over there. Like the Devils. Devils pick up 2 years back to back, and that's why they got Nico and Jack Hughes, and that's what it takes to come back in the NHL, the top 10. At some point, you need to pick up the top of the 5 draft for sure. So we'll be interesting. We're almost at the end. Sam, I don't want to hold you too much, but look, this is a lot of great knowledge about you, and I love the way you talk about this. Finally, is this what it would make you for the said about the Devils overall a success year? Because the fans at the beginning, they whatever they think, they are just excited. They believe they're going to make the playoff. I see this with the Montreal Canadiens fans. Oh, they're going to make like be realistic and not like thinking just we're going to win. But for you, what would be considered like a success year for the Devils?
Successful year. It's more than just wins or losses. It's the progression. I think, to me, if Jack Hughes and Alexandre Holtz and Dawson Mercer, all these young kids, if they can play 70-plus games together and stay healthy, and we get to see some of the results, I think that's a success. My concern is Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier. Can they stay on the ice? That's one. The other thing too is special teams, power play. I'm not looking for them to be number 1 in both categories. I like to see them at least be in the middle of the pack. And I'm not a person that likes mediocrity, but I like to see progress. I like to see some semblance of, they're going to get there one day, instead of just throwing a line together and see what they can do. But I think even last year, they were moving the puck very, very well at times on the power play. So, but, again, it's a matter of doing all the little things. And also, what builds a great team is if they all stick up for each other. There were times a couple years ago where Jack Hughes would get hit and nobody would respond. That should be all different now because they have a lot of big boys on the team. So, answer your question, what's going to be successful? They were 37 points out of a playoff spot. If they're still relevant by the last game of the season, whether they make the playoffs or not, I think that's what's going to transcend in the end, if it was a successful season or not.
You're going to love Audrey Palette, my friend, because Palette will make play around them better. And Palette is not a guy who scored 30 goals. He's I call him a hunter. He's a guy chaser. He pick up the puck everywhere around the board, and he will helping the player around them to score. So if you have a kind of sniper where a guy can shoot the puck in the net, Palette is going to make a players like if he play with Hughes, so Hughes going to have an amazing, great year because that's what he did with Tampa. He made Kucherov and other player
Yeah.
around them better because this guy go everywhere in the ball and he battle all the time 1 versus 1. So that's the reason I believe if I want to have a veteran, been there, know how to win the Stanley Cup, everything like that, I think at long term, that signature is going to be more a bigger impact at Hamilton and possibly better at Goudreau in my eyes. And use that money, possibly sharing that money to Goudreau with other young prospects they have in this organization. When you said at the beginning of the show, and that's what I paid more attention when you said, is basically is a blessing to not get Goudreau. That would make maybe better for overall the Devils at the long term.
Yeah, and Goudreau, great player. But Plot, he's exponentially going to make your other players better.
Yeah, absolutely about this.
They're going to definitely learn from him.
Exactly. We have a few people ask a question. I know we go through to the time right now, so I don't want to go there. But Sam, this was an honor having you aboard because a lot of people talk to me. Who can you bring? I asked them who you would like to me to bring. I know that connection came from Kevin Francis. I want to thank Kevin for having you aboard. Hopefully, this is not the only time. Hopefully, you will come back another time. We would love to hear you because you bring a lot of knowledge. Feel like. Honestly, I'm a rookie compared to you. It looks like you have a lot of experience. I hope I can learn more and I can do anything you can help, anything you can do, or I can learn from you. That would be great. Again, it was really a pleasure having you aboard inside the Hockey Nation show, my friend Sam.
Well, thank you very much. It was an honor to be here. I'm glad we worked it out. Sorry, maybe next time I won't go to a Mets game before I come onto your podcast. I wish I had my voice, but it was definitely enjoyable. Love the questions that are popping up and much appreciated. And you should come on to our podcast one day too.
Anytime, just let me know. That's what I do 24 hours. I'm jumping left and right. I'm going great some contents, like not great contents, but I create a lot of live streaming, like a couple of times per day. So that's what we do here. So anytime you need help about the Montreal Canadiens, if someone talk about Montreal, you come podcast, please invite me. That would be great to join you guys over there. But again, we want to thank you. We appreciate a lot. We wish you to speed recovery better because without voice, I think that's the biggest problem we can get as a podcaster. We have no voice, not going to work. But we wish you the best. And definitely good luck for you, Giants. Good luck for you, Devils. I will definitely back to you at the next couple of months together. Hopefully you come back very soon. So thanks again, my friend Sam. And of course, the show is not over, guys. Once Sam leaving, we're going to finish the show a little bit for 30 more minutes about the Montreal Canadiens. But Sam, thanks so much again. And go Devils, go.
Thank you.
Have a good night, Sam. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
It was Mr. Sam from the New Jersey Devils podcaster. Look, this guy is so great. You can see the way he talks, the way he's been there before. He's a big fan, a sport fan, so he does an amazing, great job at this area, honestly. And it was, for me, another great moment of the Hockey Nation. I should have those kind of people. They'd been there before us, before me, and you can see his experience is amazing. And he's a big fan of the Devils, so it was great to have Sam. Hopefully, we're going to have him for sure the next couple of months with us for some point. But the show is not over, guys. I'm still here talking a little bit more with you. And if you have any question, you want to talk about hockey, you want to talk about fun things at the beginning of the season, or be there for about, 15 minutes before we go to Frenchy quiz to conclude the show. Maybe talking about what you feel about the new move for the Montreal Canadiens or Atlantic Division and the contract at the Vegas with Nicolas Hague got a new contract 3 years, I believe, at $2.3 million. And then, that's what we do here at the Hockey Nation Show. We never stop talking about hockey. And we want to thank again, guys, inside the chat. If I don't welcome you, we apologize. When we have a guest, it's very difficult to catch up with everything. Some of your questions was already earlier, and it's hard for me to bring back the same question. And I understand you guys show up a little bit later, so you don't know what happened before that. I understand. I just try to readjust what I I know what happening, everything like that. So if you feel I in your you don't go that way, because honestly I don't. It's just like the question was already done earlier, and that's the one to express just my point of view about this. But we have Marco back in the house tonight. Terry T is under the one, and Nicolas, no, it's not over. Dan Asham is in the house. Thanks to be a part of the show. Who your next guest, Coach? Tomorrow night, guys. We have Michael Devillano yesterday. We talked about when we start the show, everything like that, and we have so much great additional people join us since the beginning. Michael Devillano is one of them with me, and then we got at some point in our tap. Now we have Marco Larabi. We just add more great people, and it's just amazing. We met Kevin Francis, Karen Hans. We got Marco D'Amico before. We got Jack Han. We got so many. Now, tomorrow night is a special night. This is the first time happening tomorrow night. We do a double header. What is a double header? But tomorrow night, we have Kevin Francis with Bill Mesler. He is a ESPN broadcaster for the Philadelphia Flyers. Those guys, I have to give credit for Kevin Francis and Marco. They make some kind of connection for the Hockey Nation Live show, and we have a possibility to join them, and they join us, and then they come to the show. So tomorrow night, we have two of them from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, we bring other. The Randy Walkman is another one. Join us. He's going to be with us tomorrow. I think Randy asked this question. 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Michael Devillano, and our tap are going to be with me from 10 to 11 tomorrow, with 10:15 that area when I'm done with Kevin and Bill. And then we're going to talk about some prediction, what is coming. We know we have the season start tomorrow night with 2 games at the Madison Square Garden and at the Vegas play tomorrow night. But we're really finishing all the prediction preview tomorrow night. And of course, the warm-up show start at 6 o'clock tomorrow night of p.m. But I just want to mention tomorrow night is a big 2 hours with all those guests. I can't wait. It'll be fun to see all the people inside the family one time. And then we want to remind everybody, Michael Devillano show start the morning show now, 11 o'clock Eastern Time, Monday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I just want to sharing with you guys. So that's happening here at the Hockey Nation Live show. How about this, sir? So let's see what we have here. Thank you so much, Joseph, by the way, your question. Hopefully you enjoy it. And if you know people, if you have give us some feedback, please don't hesitate to tell us. We try the best we can. It's no, if you are a fan for the league, for the Habs, and you come here, it's the Devils. I understand that, but it's a preview season. And at the end of the day, guys, we talk about hockey. That's the most important things about this. It's good to know more about fun thing, by the way. At the end of the day, we have a time 24. The Kansas State take the lead 24. Maybe Jacky can be our Steven or Primo or brother. Gogo, welcome back, by the way. Thanks to be a part of the show. I understand that's not under the radar tonight, but I had to pass in my sweet question, sir. Thanks so much, William. I think we get one of you 2 questions we asked him. I think one of you was a great question about the concern and the best area, William. So thanks again. You did that. Are you going to do post game after the Habs game? Yeah, it's something we add now. We're going to add a post game. It would be sometime. Marco would be joined also in our tab, other people, or I would just do it post game after a game, just for about 15-20 minutes. And we're going after that, we're going to go back to normal. But that's happening about this. Cool. It would be cool if you brought prospect person talking about prospects during the season. Definitely, we do this Saturday usually. We get more people, and honestly, I study a lot. So that's another additional we bring, and we talk more and more. And the NHL draft became more popular. So definitely, we're going to have some people around, like the draft pro or Marco D'Amico. Russ Cohen is coming with us very soon. And when the season starts, we're going to talk a little bit more about the prospect at least one show per month. Terry, about this. You should get Michael Red Wings and Sam Devils. Both have the same age, remember, the 19 Hockeys, Joseph. Definitely, that'd be great to see that for sure, Joseph. I will be Randy, perfect. I will send you by email the link if you don't have it. I will send you back a little bit later. about report on the call-up demotion. Yeah, Terry. What's up, Select, Mr. Select? Welcome back. Thanks to be a part of the show. You're welcome, Joseph. Looking forward to chatting tomorrow, Wendy. Internet will be go down tomorrow night with all the there in a tap. I'll have to to be sure it works for sure. Did you see Canucks have exactly set their salary cap genius at 0? Yes, I thought it was the Winnipeg Jet, but it could be the Vancouver Canucks, Marco. Yeah, they did it. Why don't you try it get hurt? Back broadcaster, former. It's those kind of people, then it's very hard to get those kind of people, unfortunately. But we'll see what we can do for sure about this one there. Anybody want to have any questions before that? Before we move on? Can I come on or you post after the game ads? And then we don't know if we're going to go add people, like invite people at some point, but definitely at some degrees we're going to have the kind of the direction we're going thinking about this. So that's something we try to bring some podcast with people guessing, bring some people show up. But we're not sure yet, Dan, to give you the best answer right now. We're testing other formula to bring those Hockey Nation Live show the next level. So this guy conclude the show. We're going to go to the next level. What I'm talking about, we're going to go to the Frenchy quiz. Look like it's very quiet. And we're going to finish the show after that. And of course, so don't forget, we are back tomorrow night, 6 o'clock p.m. with Mr. Enartat for the show's called the Warm-Up Show. And that's what's happening tomorrow night, 6 o'clock p.m. So time for the Frenchy quiz tonight. I'll be honest with you guys. Tonight is easy. Well, you always said that, Coach. No. It's easy. It's easy. And I apologize for a run with Kings because I did not put the update of the winner of the contest. So let me check here about this one over there. So, and I apologize for this one. Sunday now is run with Kings. I'm going to change this right away. And I'm going to make this run. It was the only winner yesterday, got a 2 point. And I go delete here. And we get down the setup rally. I'll be interested to come as well at Dan, Vinny. James, that's something we can go for sure about this, Vinny. Send me an email. I heard that one before. No, but there's an easy one. Quit is my strength. Look, Lafortune, you are the opposite in our tap, look, but I think, look, tonight, I feel you're going to be very close to win tonight. Here we go. Since 2016, guys, the new captain of the Buffalo Sabres, Kyle Okposo, is ranking high for the most points since 2016 for the Buffalo Sabres. Is it the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one, the sixth one, or the seventh one on the most points since 2016 with the Buffalo Sabres? And Chicago with 6. Here we go. Thanks so much, Chicago. The first answer of the game. Select, welcome back, by the way. Go with 7. Thanks so much. We have Kelly. Welcome back, Kelly. William. Thanks so much. William Snyder. We have Alexandre Maillard. Alexandre Maillard de Laurentide. Il est de retour ce soir. Alexandre Maillard, glad to see you, my friend. You always miss my friend. We know he was to Latuc. Now il est retour. Vinny B. Ron with King B. Luc Laportine C. Thanks so much. Randy E. Marco Larabis D. Marco tomorrow night, don't forget, Enartat B. And RG C. Here we go. Just like we have a couple of people participate. Great to hear that. The first answer. Surprisingly, guys. Nicolas said E. Thanks so much, Nicolas. We have only one good answer. It's A. He is the third in ranking, and we have only Alexandre Meilleur. Il est de retour avec nous. Alexandre with a good answer.
Oh my God!
Congratulations, Alexandre Meilleur. You're the only one take the lead on that one over there. You deserve it, my friend. Wow. Only one. And the modern era. Who has the most hat-trick at the rookie season with Teemu Selanne? So Teemu Selanne is one of them. But you have another one have the most rookie hat-trick in one season. Is it Eric Lindros, Joe Nieuwendag, Miroslav Fletcher, Tony Granado, and Bernie Nichols? Good luck, everybody, on that one over there. Dan said B. Nicolas said A for Lindros. LGD, thanks so much. Chicago C. Vinny won this modern area start. Well, it depends. If you look about me, it's a long time ago. In our top, same way. But Marco is a bit earlier. So it depends, you thinking, Vinny. Yeah. All right, let's go back on the truck. William Snyder, D. Joseph Laham, E. Thanks so much. Luc Lafortune, E. Bernie Nichols. Marco, E. Bernie Nichols. Alexandre Meilleur, B. Can Marco. Again, Alexandre take the lead at 2. Would be interesting. About this select B, we have Run with Kings 20. Run with King is on fire. One back-to-back, by the way. Kelly, B. Randy, B. Vinny, B. In our tab, E. Pierre Martin, E.
Oh my God!
In our tap, what it will be your second guess about that one there? I don't know what's going on tonight. I said it's going to be easy tonight. We have only one good answer. The answer is C. Miroslav Fletcher is the only one with Teemu Selanne at 5 hat-trick at the rookie season. And Chicago Bear 97 and Alexandre Meilleur take the lead on that one over there. The modern start with Charlie Chaplin. Oh, look like my son. Sorry about that. All right, so let's go with the middle of the question, number 3. We know it's under or over or exact, so you have 33% to win this one. And this one is, how many different players had at least 2 hat-tricks during the rookie season? We just asked this question. Now, how many of them did at least a minimum of 2 hat-tricks in NHL history at the rookie camp, rookie season? 49 of them, under, over, or exact? Nicolas, go with exact. Thank you. Chicago A, thank you. RJ, thank you. Run with Kings, thank you. Marco B, Alexandre Meilleur A, thank you. Joseph Lamb A, thank you. Luc Lafortune C, William Snyder A, thank you. Select, he said C. Pierre Martin B, thank you. Vinny A, thank you. In our tap said C, thank you. Anybody else? Kelly C, Dan C, thank you. Now we have a lot more people win that contest on that one over there. So glad to see that. If your answer is B, you're not winning because it's C. And we have a lot of people, guys. Nicolas, RJ, Luc Lafortune, Select, Inartap, Kelly, and then Asham join Chicago and Alexandre Meilleur. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players right now with one good answer after 3 questions, ladies and gentlemen. We have a game. Question number 4. How many years Jacques Lemaire was head coach with the New Jersey Devils? 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years. How many years Jacques Lemaire was the head coach with the Devils? Good luck, everybody. Marco Cruel. B for Chicago. Thanks so much, my friend Chicago. Randy A. Joseph A. William C. Thanks so much. William Snyder. Alexandre B. Marco B. Luc Lafortune B. Dan Asham A. Thank you, Dan. And Artap E. Vinny C. Kelly B. Runway Kings C. Pierre Martin B. Here we go. We'll see if you are good or not.
Oh my God!
Some of you possibly take the lead at 2. Would be interesting. If you answer, it was B. But my friend, you are right, because the answer is B, ladies and gentlemen. So we have right now leading by Kelly, come back to back. Luc Lafortune is on the race. I told you, Luc, you're going to be on fire tonight. And Chicago and Alexandre Maillard, we have 4 people with 2 good answers. And it will be interesting if you're going to win the question number 5 tonight. Here we go. Before that, guys, I want to make a correction. Nicolas de Gouby-Bonneau has 2 good answers, by the way. And I apologize for that one over there. So Nicolas is 2. Question number 5, the last one, guys. Who is going to win the contest tonight? We talk again about Jacques Lemaire, guys. We know he has 6 years behind the bench of the New Jersey Devils. How many of time he did the playoff? Is it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, or 6 years they make the playoff? That's your guess of this one to win the contest tonight. Can you do this tonight? Here we go. Thank you, Dan. Chicago go with 4. Chicago is on the race. If he's right, he win tonight with 4. We have Select at 4. Select, he can join and tie the game. We have Marco D with 5. Thanks so much. Nicolas. Thanks so much. We have Randy with B. We have Runway Kings with E. RJ Titan show up at the last minute. RJ will come back with D. We have Alexandre Maillard with E. Luc Lafortune with C. We have Vinny James with D. William Snyder with D. Joseph with E. Enarta with C. RJ with A. I miss anybody else? Time to step up and go from there. So we're going to have this last question of the night. And we have a few people. And I think it's conclude the show and all. Kelly go with E with 6.
Oh my God!
I don't get it, guys. We have Alexandre Maillard, Chicago Blackhawks, Nicolas de Gouby-Bonneau, Luc Lafortune, and we have Kelly. All them take the lead with 2 before this question. So one, if is right, they can win, or possibly someone can join them, and that's happening, guys, because we don't have a lot. This answer on this one is D with 5, and Marco Larrabee have a great good answer. He joined the other players, and the winner of tonight are the Luc Lafortune, Kelly, Marco Larrabee, Nicolas de Gouby-Bonneau, Chicago Blackhawks, and Alexandre Maillard. All of you guys got only 0.5 point. This is the rules, unfortunately, but yeah, at least you make up something great. So congratulations tonight, guys. 0.5. I thought someone's going to get 3 and 5. I thought it's going to be easy tonight, but that's not happening. But we want to wish Good luck. We want to thank everybody for your participation, but congratulations for the winner tonight. For that one over there, missing the playoff after they won the Cup 95. Yeah, it's all right about this one over there. But again, congratulations, the winner of the one. And we want to remind you guys, we do a lot of description play-by-play game this year, by the way. But tomorrow night, we are back at 6 o'clock. This is the first night tomorrow. We do the prediction NHL game. If you don't know how it works, every night, Monday to Friday, we do prediction of the game of everyone, and we make a little board, everything like that within our tap. So tomorrow night, if you want to join us, 6 o'clock Eastern Time, that'll be a great way to do that. So thanks so much, everybody, for that one over there. But we cannot leave because what happening, Coach? I heard I just heard something. I believe we have a super chat by Alexandre Meilleur, the super chat of the week so far. Thanks so much, Alexandre. Thanks for your 279. Here we go, super chat. Rivers, chop, chop, chop. Super chat, Mr. Alexandre Meilleur. 279. We love the super chat. Thanks so much, Mr. Alexandre, to conclude the show that way, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed Mr. Sam. We want to thank Sam to join us tonight. I'm very grateful and for the people who gave their time to join us at the Hockey Nation show. You are the one make a benefit about this one today. The guys, I'm coming with something good for all the members of the Hockey Nation show. Support us. Stay tuned. I'm coming with something different for you guys as very, very, very soon. So until then, my friend, I want to wish you an amazing, great night. But whoops, that's the one over there. We have to go all the way up at the beginning. We cannot leave the show without telling you that.
Awesome. You are amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you.
Thanks so much, everybody, for your participation tonight for an amazing, great Arcade Nation Live show with the HNL Tonight show. If you don't have your email about you have to show tomorrow, it's easy, guys. Just email me and I will send to you. But it's supposed to be HNL warm up at gmail.com. So that's the email about this one over there. So hopefully you're going to get it. I can go there, guys. I know the screen not going to be great, but listen, we have to go with that one over there. Here we go. Check on the bottom of the screen, HNLS warm up at gmail.com. That's the email. You can get there. You can get those information about this one over there. Until the next time, guys, we want to remind you for sure, be well, be healthy. Find a way not only dominate your day, find a way to dominate the second half of what? Yes, 2022. Have an amazing, great night, everybody. Sweet dream. Can't wait to see you next time. We love you, people. Thanks so much, Vinny. Merci beaucoup, Lip. Salut, mon Nicolas. We want to thank all the moderators of the Hockey National Show and after Danny T, Ron King, Jose Duarte, Luciano Graziano, all the insider, Marco and Artap, Michael Devlano, contributor Kevin Hens, Ross Cohen, Nick Larivière, and John Yamo, and of course, Mr. Audrey Calabro. Thanks so much, Dan, Alexandre Meilleur, and Artap. Thanks so much, William Snyder. Thanks so much. Your participation, Kelly, good job tonight. Chicago Bear, Nicolas de Gobi Bono, RJ, Luc Lafortune, Select, DJ. Thank you, Luciano. Thank you, Pierre Martin. William Snyder.
Booyah!